Hello brothers and sisters, welcome to today's episode on Dangerous African Confessions HD. Today we have a story from our sister Naomi. In this captivating story, Naomi shares with us her life journey, and how she met a man who promised her heaven on earth, who later used her for sacrifice. As usual, I won't mention real name, so I've edited the names, locations to hide their identity. Without wasting much of your time, let's go and listen to the story.
Hello, my name is Naomi. I live here in Ghana, but originally, I am not from here. I am a Nigerian. I live here with my entire family. Because of work, my father traveled here with my mother and gave birth to me and my brother here. I will say that I come from a very humble and morally upright home. My father, apart from his work, is also a Pentecostal church elder. So, you can imagine how my home will be like. It was always prayer, prayer and prayer. Even though I knew it was a good thing to always pray, I hated this kind of life. I wanted to explore life from the other side, where you have all the freedom of whatever it is that you want to do. So, after when I completed university, I wanted to be by myself. I felt I was grown up and didn't want my mother nor father to always be in my space. During my university days, I had friends that I mingled with. They were 3 in number. My parents got me my own hostel. To them, they wanted me to be at peace and learn. Which I will say, it was the nicest thing to me at that time. But then, when I met these girls, I wanted to always be around them. So, I ended up moving from that hostel to be with these friends of mine. We decided to have a 4-in-a-room hostel, instead of me living in my own room. This I kept from my parents. One thing I realized was that these friends were living life as they want. And they were enjoying the beauty there is to offer even at that level of their lives. So, I got more interested. They could buy things they want, without waiting for their parents to send them money. So gradually, they introduced me to this lifestyle. And I was enjoying life of my own, where I didn't need my parents' money before I could do whatever it is that I wanted to do. What I used to do was that I still will collect the money from my parents to make them think it was them sponsoring me through school. But I was doing my own thing on the other side. What me and my friends did was that we were paying for the room that I was in before moving to their place. This way, when my father visited me, I would be in that room. And when he leaves, it was back to girls' affairs. Also, we were using that room to host our guests. Whoever had a guest amongst us will use that room, so she can have her privacy to do whatever she wants with the guest. So, because of this lifestyle that I lived in the university for almost 4 years, staying home with my parents was going to be a huge problem for me. I told my parents I wanted to be on my own, but my father objected to the idea. He said he will allow that only when I am done with my national service and gets a job. To him, there was no way he was going to pay for another rent, when there were enough rooms in our house to accommodate all of us. So, if I wanted to rent, it should be when I start to earn something on my own. I didn't have a choice but to agree to the terms given by my father. So, I stayed with my family till I was done with my national service. At this while, I was meeting with my friends and doing some of our secret movements when I close from the service, before I go home. When I got the job and wanted to leave and rent, they wanted me to continue staying with them. But then I got angry and said a lot of things to my mother especially. Since she was the one who convinced me to accept what my father proposed when I completed school. Now here she is siding my father again. I had already paid for an apartment without them knowing. The allowances they were giving me from work, I saved them and used that money for the apartment. I walked out on them with anger and told them I will never come back to the house again. Because I couldn't trust them anymore. How can you promise me something and then go back on your words when I have honored my part of the bargain? Now I was living all by myself and moving to night parties and nightclub with my friends. The daughter of a noble church elder. I didn't care what people will say nor think about me. All I cared was me, living my possible best life. One day, when we were at the nightclub, a man who I believe will be in his 60s approached us. He asked that he talk to me. So, I left my friends and went to his table with him. This was the kind of life we were living. We go to these places to search for men in high positions and those who do have money to spread on us to have fun with. Which leads to them sleeping with us and we also getting money from them. Our excuse was that, instead of being in a relationship with a young man who will break my hair at the end of it all, then it's better to give ourselves to these older men, who will give us money and wouldn't even think about long hours of sex. Because, they themselves are always busy and thinking about their businesses. They come to us when they want to have fun away from their homes. So we were there in their lives, to give the pleasure and fun. And in return, they shower us with huge sums of money. Even though I was working now, the pay I was receiving at the end of the month was nothing compared to what I get in just one night with these people. So, we were using the work that we were doing as cover-up to our real business. Now back to when I met the man. After exchanging contacts with the man, he gave me 5,000 Ghana cedis for doing absolutely nothing for him. He told me he will call me so we can have a proper meet-up and get to know ourselves better. I came and gave my friends 500 Ghana cedis each. That's what we always do when we go out. Whoever gets a client, tips the rest some amount of money. This way, there was no jealousy amongst us. Fast forward, the man called me to meet him at a place in Cantonments, a suburb in Accra, Ghana. I went there and this man took me to a house. The house was very beautiful. He said it was one of his houses and he was going to give it to me if I accept to the terms he was going to offer me.
Please kindly subscribe, share and like our videos. Kindly hit the notification bell so you will be the first to get notification to our videos when we upload. Thank you and let's get back to the story.
As soon as I heard about me owning that house, I said I was ready to do anything he tells me to. He said he wanted me to stop going to meet other men. He said he was a jealous man and couldn't bear the thought of sharing me with other men. He offered to pay me 10,000 Ghana cedis at the end of every month if I accept to stop meeting other men. After which he was going to give me the house. I agreed to his terms. In my mind, I thought he was going to have sex with me. So, I went to the shower and bath. I wanted to be fresh for him. I came out of the shower to meet him still in his clothes. So, I asked if he was not going to remove his clothes. He said no. I asked why, and he answered that he was not ready to have sex with me. He said he wanted me to feel more comfortable around him. I asked what he meant by me being comfortable. He said since I was going to be his woman, there was no need to rush in having sex with me. He said there are plenty more days ahead of us to enjoy sex. He said that and gave a kiss. Honestly, he was by far the best kisser I've ever met. After about 5 minutes into the kiss, he broke the kiss and said he wanted to go. He picked his bag and gave me 10,000 Ghana cedis saying, "This is to prove to you how serious I am about you." He then told me to give the keys to the housekeeper when leaving. So, he left. At this point, I felt I was on my way to make it big in my life. Just in about 2 weeks, I had 15,000 Ghana cedis to myself for doing absolutely nothing. So, I still was going to the club and other parties with my friends, but I was not going out with any other man. In my thinking, if I am able to please this man, I was going to own a house in Cantonments. This is where some of the top men in Ghana lives. So, I needed to play my cards well. The day came, when he said he was going to have sex with me that day. This was about 6 months after meeting him. I was happy. Why was I happy? I was happy because, even when he did nothing with me, he was showering me with gifts and money. And on top of it paying me monthly just as promised. Now when we were in the room, I had finished showering lying down on the bed waiting for him. He entered the room having this very frog in his hand. This was a frog that you will always see him with. The frog was in a plain vase, always sitting in his car. His explanation for having the frog when I asked earlier before this day was that everybody and the type of pet he loved to have. and that the frog was his pet. So, when entered the room, he placed the frog on the bed and told me before he sleeps with me, the frog will have to enter me first. Meaning, the frog will have sleep with me first before he will.
I will leave you here. These are not just stories for story's sake. They are meant for us not to make these mistakes our brothers and sisters are making. That's why we share these stories with you. As a lady, it's good to live good and be treated like a queen. But in doing so, my sisters, let's be vigilant a little. Do the little you can and ask your Creator to bless your handwork. Please, let's be mindful of the choices that we make. Stay blessed and be safe. Thanks for being a part of this growing family. Kindly share your thought with us in the comment section below. And if you are new here, please subscribe, like and share.